to bring out this topic of personal branding. Now, before I begin, right, let me wish a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, all the distinguished ambassadors and guests, all of us who are with YYCI. And let me take you through this topic of personal branding, right? So all of us do aspire to become a brand, right? So when we are with our family or when we are interacting with the external world, we are perceived by the way that we behave, by the way that we interact, by the words that we speak, by the values that we generate. So our dress, our address, everything is very important and gives people a first-hand notion, and also on repeated meetings, people get to know of us as how we are. And that actually distinguishes one from the other. Like when we talk about brands, we actually have our preconceived notion of different brands. So if we talk of, say for example, a mobile phone, right? So if I talk about a mobile phone, immediately you will think about certain brands. Now, each of these brands that are there in the market, they all have a perceived value in our minds. So we all think differently about these brands. And similarly, when we interact with people, so we can differentiate one person from the other by the branding that we have. If we think about any particular aspect and we need maybe a particular service, right? Then we immediately recall that, well, these are the people whom you should connect to. And they are basically actually considering our brand value. I'll just try to share my screen.
Yes, you can.
And yeah, just a minute. I'll just, yeah. So this is my first slide. So basically, I'll be talking on building and maximizing your personal brand. So I'm Dr. Subrata Chattopadhyay. I'm a professor at IM, Institute of Engineering and Management, Kolkata, in India. And the topic that I will speak on today is about personal branding. So first of all, let us understand that when we talk about brands, right, what do you mean by a personal brand? So personal brand or personal branding is a popular buzzword, but what does it really mean? Your brand is what other people say about you, and this is what I was saying just now. How other people perceive about you and what is your positioning in the minds of others is what your brand value is what your brand positioning is. So when you are not there, how people do consider you to be, how much important you are for them, that is what your brand is. So this was Jeff Bezos of Amazon. He said about it. Now let us understand what is personal branding. So when we talk about personal branding, it is actually the process of developing and managing a unique, consistent image or reputation for oneself. Now, when I say unique and consistent image or reputation for oneself, it means that you see, if we are a doctor or a professor or a lawyer, right? So people have a perception about ourselves, right? If I am a celebrity, um, the perception is that people will not be able to, see me just like any other person, right? So if I make myself available anywhere and everywhere, why will people pay and watch my shows, watch my movies, right? So, which means that I am actually differentiating or distinguishing myself from others. So, I need to maintain my unique, consistent image and reputation as long as I can maintain my personal brand. And that is very important as regards the maintenance of brand image, right? So if we talk about, say, for example, the great leaders, if we talk about, say, Nelson Mandela, right? Great leader. Now, when we talk about Nelson Mandela, or, if we talk about, say, Mahatma Gandhi, for example, right? If we talk about great tycoons of business, right? We have our own perception about them, and we have, a distinct entity for them. If we say Philip Kotler, right? People immediately say, "Oh, the father of marketing, father of modern marketing." Okay. If I say David Acker, immediately people relate. Oh, you are talking about the father of branding, right? That means a unique and consistent image or reputation for oneself is there. And that is what is a personal brand. Now it involves strategically presenting your skills, your values, your personality, and expertise to create a positive, memorable impression. Okay. So even that I am taking my session over here, my master class over here, I am also trying to brand myself in some way or the other, right? And that also involves the way I am strategically presenting my skills, my values, my personality, and my expertise in the subject to create a positive, memorable impression. Okay. And if I am able to create a positive and memorable impression in the subject, content, delivery, and also the understanding, then this subject will be remembered by you and you will say, "Oh, I had attended a session of Dr. Subrata, right, of personal branding, and it was just wonderful, or it was just awful," right? So, that's what people do perceive. So, what do you require to do or have when you are doing personal branding? Okay. The first thing, as I say, is there are certain key aspects of personal branding. The first is self awareness. So, every one of us, we are independent entity. Each one of us, we are different from others. So, we need to understand that what are our strengths, weaknesses, values, and goals. And this self awareness forms the foundation for building a personal brand that authentically represents you. I'll give you certain examples over here. right? There was a cricketer, Indian cricketer called Anil Kumble, right? Now, he was, more than 6 feet tall, and he wanted to be a pacer, but due to an accident, he actually could not deliver fast balls. So he went on to be a spinner. Now, he was a leg spinner. Now, when he was doing leg spin, right, his ball did not actually spin. His ball went straight, right? And people said, "Oh my God, what sort of a spinner is this?" Right? And many people criticized him that he cannot spin the ball well, unlike other leg spinners. And press and media used to ask him this question repeatedly. And you know what? When he was asked this question, he said, "What matters most is how many wickets do I get at the end of the day?" So that's what is important, because that gets printed, that gets published. That is your reputation. Maybe your ball has not spun, maybe even uh, 1 yard, or one fit, say for example. So what if you have managed to get 4 to 5 wickets at the end of the day? It's there. Someone may have been a very good football player, right, but has been mispassing and not being able to hold on to the ball for long, right? But at the end of the day, if that particular player can score 2 goals, people will forget all these. And people will remember, oh, in this particular match, he had scored 2 goals. They will not say that he has missed so many opportunities. On the other hand, if the team loses, then the entire hell comes to each one of the players, and everyone is criticized. So what one needs to do is that one needs to be consistent and build a distinctive identity and understand the self-awareness. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your values? And what are your goals? And this is the foundation for a personal brand. Okay? Because it
So is it possible for the background to be reduced? Because
yeah,
it's like
just,
we're
yeah, just
yes, please.
yeah. So I hope it's fine now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
So,
Yes,
so
because we
it's
don't want to be listening to two people at the same time.
yeah.
Please. Okay, continue.
So it forms a foundation for building a personal brand that authentically represents you. The next important thing which everyone has to understand in building a personal brand is that how do you define your niche? That means, see, each one of us do have our unique expertise and experience. And each one of us, starting from childhood, we have in some way or other some talent. And this talent needs to be garnered. This talent needs to be developed. And these unique skills and expertise and interests, we should actually practice in such a way that that is what people know us for. So what sets you apart from others in your field? If the top three in a particular area is being considered, are you one of them? So one has to focus on creating a specific niche so that so that you can stand out and become recognized for your expertise in that area. If you are good in piano, so be so good that you are one of the best in the world. If not the world, at least in your country. If you are good in guitar, so play guitar so well that you become recognized. If you want to become a public speaker, then practice your oratory skills in such a way so that people would be eager and enthusiastic to listen to you. Are you so? So what one should do is that, first of all, understand that what are the strength areas and which one is the one which is very passionate to him or her. Develop that, and develop that to such an extent that it goes to the level of excellence. And if that can be done, then it is a success as a personal brand, and people will reckon for that particular purpose. Just move on to the next slide. Slide changing. Is the screen being shared?
We can see it now. Okay, yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Yes, we can see.
So, coming to the characteristics of personal branding, as I was saying, the next important thing about personal branding is how do you maintain a consistency, a brand consistency. So, as you see, if I am going to listen to a particular concert with my favorite musician performing, right? So I have my expectations. So I will always expect that my favorite musician will play as per my expectations. So that consistency has to be there. I'll give you one example, and I don't know whether you have heard about him. And this talks about discipline. This talks about values as as a performing professional. There is a famous singer. His name is Kumar Shanu. He is very famous in India. Having son, he has his name in Guinness Book of World Records as well for his songs. Now, what happened is, one particular day, he had been booked for a function, and he had to perform in the evening. Now, unfortunately, on that particular day, in the morning, he lost his mother.
Hmm.
Now, this was a dilemma. So, does he go to the crematorium straight away and go for the final rites, or does he attend the promise that he has made? What should he do? So, he chose profession about personal life, even in such a critical moment. He did his performance, and after the performance was over, he actually cried before everyone and said, "You know what? You all are my fans, but I lost my mother. I'm sorry. I could have performed a little bit more, but I have to rush to the crematorium to do the final rites of my mother." And this is what actually increases the respect of one as a personal brand.
Mhm.
So consistency in online and offline appearances. So, many a times you will see that many of us, we are different online, and when face to face, we are entirely different. And becomes very difficult to recognize, oh, this is the person that I was seeing in the online in Zoom or Google, right? When you meet face to face, this is actually a different person. It is not the same person. Online, he doesn't look that attractive, but offline, face to face, he's actually not that bad. See, so your presence, your communication style, your content, what you are sharing, all these are very important. So consistency actually builds trust and reinforces your personal brand. And when you are making a public presence, your consistency matters. People know that you are known for this. So if you cannot deliver that, then it becomes very difficult. Few days back, I was invited to be the moderator of Association of Indian Management Schools. So there was a session I had to moderate. Now I had a broken voice, right? And I started the moderation telling that I'm extremely sorry. My voice is not proper. So my apologies. And then I started moderating. So, the expectation is when I have been asked to moderate, so people do expect that everything will be proper. But given a particular day and situation, there are external elements which may not actually aid you or help you to have things in the right form, in the right place every time. Okay. So next, as I said, online presence. So in today's digital age, managing your online presence is crucial. That means, how do you maintain your social media profiles, your personal website, any other platforms? Because as I always say, that Google knows more than us, than we know about ourselves. So how we are portraying ourselves in different social and personal media, that also goes a long way in branding ourselves. How are we placing ourselves? Okay. Ensure that your online presence aligns with your personal brand. The next is something which is very, very important to maintain your personal brand, which is about networking. And network is net worth. Okay. So build and nurture relationships with others in your industry or field. So networking helps you to gain visibility, access opportunities, and receive support from your professional community. I'll show a video of the art of networking, and this is another subject which is very close to my heart, right? On networking skills and how networking actually enhances the brand. So maybe tomorrow I'll show you the video of networking after we delve a little bit more deep on this particular subject. The next is value proposition. One should very clearly communicate the value that you bring to others. What, whether it's your professional role as an entrepreneur or in personal relationships, articulate how your skills and qualities benefit others. So these are very important perspectives as regards one's personal branding. So moving on, some more things, professional development. One should continuously invest in the skills and knowledge. So say for example, if you are say again you play musical instrument, you should actually practice every day and practice for long hours. And if you do not practice every day, and if you do not invest in your skills, if you think that, well, I have a performance after 4 days and it will be stage managed, it is not possible. So you need to continuously invest in your skills and knowledge. And also, you have to customize yourself. You have to be relevant. So you need to stay current in your field. and demonstrate a commitment to growth, improvement, enhancing your personal brand. Every day, some incremental positive change has to be there. Even if you are a very respected and reputed um, maestro, or someone who is uh, numero in that particular area, even then you need to excel. You need to set your own standards, not compete with others, but compete with yourself. Increase your own standards by several notches up. The next is storytelling. Each one of us have our own story. So what one needs to do is that one needs to share their personal and professional journey through storytelling. And why this is required? This is required because people connect to narratives, and sharing experiences make your brand more relatable and memorable. I'm telling you, when I take my classes on different subjects, I share my personal experiences with students, which is related to the subject. And what happens as a result is that the students do understand things better. And I am also able to tell about that particular thing better. Why? Because I was also part of that experience. So we should remember that personal branding is actually an ongoing process which evolves as you grow professionally, as you grow personally, and one has to regularly assess and adjust the brand to ensure it actually reflects who you are and the value that you bring to others. So, can I stop here, or do I continue? Because tomorrow also I have a session, and you also have your session today. So, do I stop here?
No, you can continue.
Okay. Okay. So, how much
You
time
continue.
can I continue?
Let me see. In 10 minutes. So continue so that we can ask questions. 10
10
minutes.
minutes, right?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. So, the next important thing is think of yourself as a product. So, you see, each one of us, we have our own characteristics, just like a product has its own characteristics. So we all have our attitudes, our beliefs about brands based on our experiences, as I said. And the strongest brands are those which are powerful, which are authentic, which are consistent, which are visible, and which are valuable. Now, if you are talking about personal brands too, about people too, right? People who are reckoned, who are respected, are the ones who are authentic, who are powerful, who are consistent, who are visible for the right uh, perspectives, for the right values, for the right things. So, what applies to products when products do place themselves as brands also do apply to us. So the same qualities apply to personal brands. Now, having said all these, why is your personal brand important? So we now have a greater control of our own destinies. With that comes increased responsibility and competition. So to get ahead, we must manage the impressions others have of us. What impression are we putting before others? We should actually empathize and introspect and see that the way that we are behaving the way that we are interacting, had it come to us, what would have been our impression? Now, this is very, very important to understand and to practice. And many of us do have trouble in doing so. The next is, as I already said, one should differentiate oneself from others, and one should maximize the career potential. So, having said that, what is your current brand? It talks about your identity, it talks about your attributes, it talks about the vision that you have, the value, and the trust that you build around you. Okay, so what you should actually do is that you should ask yourself certain questions. What makes you special? What are your greatest strengths? And what differentiates you from others? How does your uniqueness translate to value? What are your most significant accomplishments and how they are unique? How they are of value? What do people come to you for? Are you someone who is very trustworthy? Are you someone who can give them out of the box suggestions? Are you someone who is respected for profession? What is your uniqueness? Why would people come to you? What would you be reckoned for? And very importantly, what do you want to be known for? What do you want others to think when they hear about your name? And are you the same person? Is there some sort of a synchronistic, measure between what your thoughts are and what you actually are? That's important to build the personal brand. The next important thing is always seek a feedback. Is the perception of others consistent, as I was saying, consistent with your perception of yourself? So many a times, when the environment in my house gets a little hot, my wife always says to me that you always think that you know everything. You know what I do? I keep quiet at the point of time. So, she thinks that I always think that I know everything. And, I allow her to speak and to tell whatever she says. And then I slowly say, now I have a feeling that you know more than what I do. So, what is important is your perceptions of others should be consistent with the perception of yourself. Talk to your trusted colleagues. They are the ones who can give you a review about what you are. I'll tell you, respected Ma. So, I actually logged on to YYCI TV, and I shared the link with some of my trusted people, and that I always do. When I do a session, and I ask their honest feedback. Right now, one of uh, respected professors who is very close to me, he said regarding my session yesterday that your content is very good, but it is more of theory than of practice. Now, I said, why are you telling so? He said, whatever I felt, I said. Though I have given a lot of examples, but it may be so that he felt that it is more of theory than of practice, which means that I have to include more of practical examples in my presentation. So I need to understand what others do perceive. Now, these are people who actually constructively criticize you. These are the ones which will help you to make your perception of others and your perception match. Always it is recommended to go for 360-degree surveys if possible, and review the past performance reviews. I go through my old videos on the same subject or on different subjects, and I make it a point every day that the videos, whatever I said, where have I gone wrong? Like, respected Ma, if I give you one example, and all here, when I was speaking extempore, and I started speaking more of extempore after the lockdown as others did, I saw that maybe one or two sentences I use the phrase you know, and many people do that. So what I try to do is that I try to become very conscious, and I actually try to slow down my pace so as to work. And now, if you see, I use less of So there are many phrases that people do use. Now, one can actually work. Now, even when I am presenting, say as a teacher, if I am presenting before a class physically, the pace at which I will speak, and in online, the pace at which I will speak is entirely different. So I'll speak at a much slower pace. Why? Because people have different problems while listening online and understanding and recording. And in a forum like this, wherein people are from different parts of the world, understanding English as a language may not be, too very familiar to some. So I need to speak in a neutral accent so that everyone understands to what I am saying. And if I cannot do so, then people will say that this session I could not understand what he was saying. The dialect is not proper. So I'll not use any British accent. I'll not use any American accent. I'll not use any other accent, but I'll speak in a neutral accent and slowly so that people can understand. Now, these are things which are characteristics as a speaker that I'm saying. So these can be unique things to perceive as a brand. So I can go on and on, but then this session is for 2 days. So I'll stop over here, respected Ma, and promise to continue this session from here tomorrow. And I'm stopping here, leaving the people excited, so that people, all of you will be there, and you will invite more of your friends to this exciting session and learning on personal branding. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I've learned a lot from your personal branding. I told you earlier on that I'm also learning to improve. Nobody is perfect. You can only learn to improve and get better. And I have personally learned from you, sir, this morning. And it's so amazing. I like everything you've said, especially towards the end of it. I like the sick feedback, because they are your mirror. It's like you, when you dress up, you face the mirror before you go out. So the mirror is deciding how you look, if you are complete, if you are looking great, if everything, you're combing your hair, grooming yourself, everything. The same thing happens to others as well. Not only our mentors does a lot of work, but others as well, because you want to learn from people to get better. and which is very important. I mean, they are your mirror. Some people might be a little bit criticism, but you can still learn from them, because as a learner, whatever critics or other people's negative ideas that comes to you, don't shy away from it. Always make sure you pick it up and turn it as a sign of improvement. You know, when you keep doing that, you find yourself getting better and better and better. And when they now look at what you're doing, and some of them will like you to improve, they will definitely approach you and say, oh, you need to do it this way, you need to do it this way, and it will be better. And when you listen to people like that, then you will see that you are improving yourself. Another thing as well is that we are learning from one another, and no one is perfect. And that is the main reason why we should be sensitive enough, and we need to learn from one another. When we are talking about branding, I love the way Professor said it. The way you present yourself on the online and also on the offline. I know Facebook sometimes is Facebook, and a lot of people can just be fake on Facebook. They are not who they say they are. I mean, it's just like during the COVID, we are all putting on the masks that is covering everything. And then after the COVID, we all removed it. And the same thing happens to personal branding. You need to be authentic with yourself. Let people see the real you, because, and you need to also be honest to yourself. Because if you don't do that, one day, just as we remove the marks from our face, the same thing, that whatever you are portraying to be that you are not, will be fade away. So let's be real to ourselves and also be authentic. Also, what we say as well need to reflect how we are doing things. For example, if you say you are the ambassador of peace, and you have trouble mind, whatever your position that time will definitely reflect everyone and everything around you. So that is why we also need to be conscious of how we treat others, how we speak to others, and also we need to respect one another. So on this note, I'm not the speaker for this particular personal branding. So let's be ready now to ask him questions. So before we ask questions, let me seize this opportunity to welcome Dr. Samina Evelyn from Pakistan, Ambassador Amadou Koroma, I think from Sierra Leone or from Liberia, one of the two, Ambassador Emmanuel Charles, Ambassador Esther, Ambassador Rhoda Justin, Ambassador Sarah Samuel, and also Ambassador Colin Oben. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for this valuable masterclass. I also want to appreciate all our friends from Facebook. Joyce, thank you for joining us. Onopoma Fidelis, thank you for joining us. Floppy, thank you for joining us. Kankwi Isaiah, thank you for joining us. Agnes Fortune, thank you for joining us. And Inga, thank you for joining us. Manana, thank you for joining us. Ben, thank you for joining us. And keep enjoying the lesson, the masterclass of today. Now it is question time. I would like us to ask question now.
I
So,
think
who will go first?
Emmanuel Charles, madam.
Emmanuel? Okay.
Yeah, she already has written in the chat box.
All right. Let me see the. Oh,
She
wow.
has
Okay.
written, I was kind of lost from the slides. Think of yourself as a product. Can
Okay.
you highlight more on the powerful, authentic, consistent, visible, and valuables? I think,
Okay.
Ma, you also have deliberated on it, but still, I'll try to explain in my own way once again.
Okay.
So authenticity is very important. That means that whatever I see and whatever I do, right, whatever goes on in my mind and my heart, that has to be, synchronizing. So I need to be authentic, right? And also, I need to be consistent, right? If I am not consistent, if uh, people perceive of me that I am good at something, right? I need to be, you know, consistent. Say, for example, if I take example from any football or something like that, if I am uh, a scorer, right? If I'm a forward as a player, right? So people will expect that I will score goals, right? If I am a Pele or a Maradona or a Messi, whoever, right? Whenever I am in the football ground, people will expect that I'll score, right? So I need to be consistent, and I need to make myself visible. Brand visibility is very important because if you are not visible, if you do not have a lasting impression in the minds of people, if you are not a top of the mind recall, then people will not perceive you with all your strengths. And you should create a valuable impression in the minds of others. Okay. Now, there is another question from Sarah Samuel, Madam.
Okay.
What is the difference between branding and packaging?
Hmm.
Now, you see, even when you talk about packaging, that also talks about the brand, right? So, packaging is external. So, the external appearance. And people do buy a product many a times because of the packaging. If you see, say for example, Lay's chips, right? I think it's available in many countries, right? It is very attractive from the outside, but how much of chips do you actually get? It's more of air than of chips. But then the packaging is so attractive that people go to buy the Lay's brand, okay, or many other brands like that. So if you are talking about, say, McDonald's, you can recognize the brand McDonald by the big M. So that's very visible. Okay. But that is not packaging. So branding is how you leave a lasting impression of your product or service in the minds of the customers. That's what your brand is. So it's your goodwill, it's your reputation, it's how you are perceived, right? Now, when you talk about packaging, packaging is how you are delivering the product to the
Hmm.
customers, right? Uh, so that's what is the difference between branding and packaging.
Oh,
I
that's
hope.
amazing. Any other question? Thank you so much. Any other question? Let me check the Facebook if there's any question. And all what they're saying is tongue up, tongue up. So they really appreciate that. Okay, all right. Let me check. Just to throw a light to this branding thing. Because now that I'm learning from Professor Subrata, I'm gaining a little. So I just want you to affirm this if I'm right or not. With that last question, what is the difference between branding and packaging?
Yeah, I
Let me,
already
yeah,
answered this.
yes, you've said it, but I just want to practically ask them that question.
Okay, okay.
Who in your life that you think it has I mean, who have you known in the whole world that has a personal branding? Personal branding.
Okay.
Yeah?
So see,
Every one of you can answer that. I
okay.
mean, like, for
So
example, let
so
me
can
take,
we have answers from all the participants out here,
Yes,
or
yes, yes. I want to hear
that will be
from
really
them.
good.
Yes. Who are you thinking right now when we are talking about personal branding that has that personal branding that you are remembering the person right now based on what Professor Subrata have discussed with us and explaining to us clearer about this personal branding? I will mention names. Who do you think, while you are sitting down there, that has a powerful personal branding that you know? That's the simple question. Sarah, I'm listening. Colin, I'm listening. Just think of somebody. I mean, I have a lot of them in mind, but I want you to mention who do you think has that based on what Professor Subrata have mentioned, have explained to us. Or let me start with somebody. When you, I don't know if you know somebody called Oprah Winfrey. Do you know Oprah Winfrey? I'm sure some of you know. I want you to talk to me here. I'm not the only one speaking here. We want conversation here. Do anybody know Oprah Winfrey?
Excuse me, ma'am. Personal branding means how we are leaving long-lasting impression on others.
And Dr. Samina, I'm asking a question. Excuse me, I'm asking a question that need to respond. Who do you think has a personal branding? And I want answer. Let me check. Because we are practically discussing it. We've listened to the theory. Now we are
Emmanuel
practically.
writes in the
Yeah.
chat box. Emmanuel
Okay.
Charles Madam writes,
Yes, that's
Mark
good.
Zuckerberg, Jeff
Yes.
Bezos, and so on.
Yes, yes,
You
that
know,
is
they are
good.
they are her
Emmanuel.
personal brands.
Yes, yes. I mean, we're talking about what's this computer's man name now again? If somebody can remind me. We have who else do you have in mind? I have my pastor, Matthew Ashimolowo, in mind. He's a very strong personal branding. I have Oprah Winfrey in mind. She's also a personal branding. We are not talking about their wealth. We are talking about when you mention their names, you understand how people react with that name. You understand? So because that is personal branding that they have built it. So that's an example. So I don't want to chat box everywhere, even on the Facebook. I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm reading. So tell us, who in your mind do you know has that strong personal branding? Yes, President Barack Obama. Yes. Yes, yes. Oprah Winfrey. Yes, as I mentioned. Oh, yes. Steve Jobs, yes, that's the one I wanted to remember. That's good. So keep telling us. That's from Facebook. What about those people with me on Zoom? Please keep mentioning. Yes, because there are so many people that have really they've built this personal branding and you know them. And that's the example. Yes, Nelson Mandela. Yes, Steve Jobs. Yes, Bill Gates. That's the one I want to remember. Yes, because when you're talking about Bill Gates, you're talking about computer. We're talking about Steve Jobs. You are thinking about iPhone. So keep moving. Disney. Yes, personal branding. Please let's move on. Yes, we have Dr. Mike Oladipo. Yes, yes, on leadership mentoring. That's great. That's great. Kwame Nkrumah. Yes, yes. So please mention as many. We are practical because that is the response to this teaching. You understand? If you really understand what Professor Subrata has really taught us for the past 1 hour, then you should, yes, Elon Musk, yes, for SpaceX, yes, that's great, that's great. So we want more to respond on this. John Maxwell, yes, a great leadership coach. Yes, please mention as many because this is how we all be looking at it that, okay, right, this is what I understand by this personal branding. and I have all these names in mind. So that means I personally as well, I can build my personal branding. It's so possible, and yes, we can. Yes, Wale Soyinka, yes, John Maxwell, yes, many more, many more. I haven't heard from Olutosin Mary. You are not typing anything. I'm waiting for you. Collins Oben. Yes, I'm expecting response. Rhoda Justin, I'm expecting more response as well from this Zoom. Esther, who do you think has that personal branding? John Maxwell, Wole Soyinka, Ngozi Chimamanda Achi. Okay. Yes. So keep writing, keep writing. That is our assignment for this, to respond to this teaching today. I'm gonna stop it. I will give you another 2 minutes. I'm expecting people to respond. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. Yes, yes. Adeleke, okay, that's fine. That's great. We have I have some of the musicians as well. Michael Jackson, I'm sure many of you will know him. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, all those kind of great, great leaders that have left us. They've gone many years, but I'm still remembering them. That is what personal branding can do. It's very powerful when you build it up. That is how important it is to build and maintain our personal branding. So it's very important. Baba Fela, yes, yes, everybody keep writing, keep writing. It's very, very important that we do this. Okay, Gary Wanachuk. Okay, Two-Face Idiabia. I know you understand this teaching this morning and you can resonate with it. Michelle Obama, yes, personal branding. Because when you remember their name, you remember something. I mean, take for instance, if I want to talk about professional branding, I will say I do it or something like that. Then Mike, and other people like that, other organization like that. If I mention McDonald's, if I mention other, but we are talking about personal branding. Interesting. Somebody is mentioning my name. I am still building that.
I,
I am still building that. So, I mean, compared to all the names we've mentioned,
I,
Davido, okay, even
I
Dr.
am
Samina.
greatly, I am greatly impressed by religious persons,
Yes,
Pastor Benny Hinn, Pastor Billy Graham, and
yes,
Pastor Joel Austin.
yes, yes, yes.
They are my favorites.
They're very good, very good, very good. Yes, yes, yes. We are all building, and they are still building. They are still maintaining their personal branding because personal branding is ongoing. Like Professor Subrata said, it's ongoing. So you keep Pastor Paul Uneche, yes, yes, because we keep bringing Mark Zuckerberg, yes, and many, many, many more. So personal branding is so important. In fact, like when somebody asks questions that time, let me come back to that question that our professor have answered about what is the differences between personal branding and packaging. I like the way Professor Subrata have already answered that. When we talk of personal branding is about you, your uniqueness, your USP, your strength, your gift, your talent, what people can resonate you with. But when you talk of even your packaging is the services and the products that you deliver, that you give, that you sell, and you can see that your personal branding can be long term. Why? Because when you talk of packaging, you can produce a product now and sell it now and deliver your service now. But guess what? It could change tomorrow. But when you talk of personal branding, it's ongoing. You keep maintaining it. You keep maintaining it until you grow old, and you go to heaven. Even personal branding is what people will talk about at the graveyard. Have you noticed? They're not going to talk about the money you have. They are not going to talk about how powerful you have delivered. They are not going to talk about your product. But what they will talk about is your uniqueness, your authentic, your powerful uniqueness, how you have added value to yourself and added value to others. So personal branding is so, so important. If you will, do you know that sometimes, even if you are selling debit, because everything in this world are great, but imagine if I'm selling this pen and I have a very strong personal branding. You understand? The pen might not be more valuable than my personal branding, but because the person knows me, the person knows my personalities, whether this pen is valuable to them at that time or not, they will buy the pen. That's how powerful the personal branding is. So I want to encourage you, please come back tomorrow to learn more on this personal branding. Let me see, any message, any questions? Thank you so much. I'm so impressed about your response this morning. I'm so impressed. Thank you so much. And let us come back tomorrow as early as 10 o'clock a.m. and keep learning from Professor Subrata on personal branding. Because even when we are talking about relationship as well, the way you self-care, the way you present yourself will attract others. The way you present yourself will determine who is being attracted to. Remember, I keep saying that you can't change anybody, but you can change yourself. And when you change yourself, it can influence everything and everyone around you. It's still part of personal branding. If you can change and get yourself better every day, every single names or personalities that you've all mentioned this morning, do you know that they develop themselves? They make themselves better every single day. That is why Professor Subrata is also letting us to know that it has to be consistent, 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 consistent. You have to be building yourself up. Build is a personal development that you need to focus on, because that is what is taking you anywhere. That will reflect what you are doing, will reflect what you become, what you achieve, what you succeed on. So personal branding is very important. And we are so blessed, we are so privileged to have Professor Subrata to come and teach us more tomorrow again on personal development. Who you know matters. It matters a lot. Who you are matters. Remember, I always say something that your network, even Professor Subrata said it, your network will determine your net worth. Your association will determine the level of your speed, will determine who you become, and will also determine what you are achieving and succeeding on. So that is why it is so important that we focus on that. If you're going to build a good and healthy relationship, then it has to start from you. It has to start from yourself. It has to start from your uniqueness. And the more you can build your personal branding, the more you can build yourself and get yourself better, then the more you will have the right people that will attract you. So that is why it is so important. So that is why we have to focus on our personal development. So personal branding is very important. So there's pros and cons. There's advantages and disadvantages as well. I will not be the one to tell you, come back tomorrow, and then you will hear more and learn more. But before I round up this very point, may I give opportunity to Dr. Samina to quickly say something before I start another section. Dr. Samina, what do you want to say about personal branding? We can't hear you. Please.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Personal branding is a style,
Mm.
is a style how you dress up yourself, how you present yourself in front of others, your talking, your uniqueness, your hairstyle, your makeup, your body language, everything, your accent, everything. I think your personality, your how you treat others with love or with the strictness, harshness, everything is mentioned in this, that how we are looking like. If we are uh, so kind of people that others follow us, they like us, they want to be like us, and they love us, any unique thing within us which people admire, because of people admire us, that they think that this is a unique thing, we should have this in us. If we have this quality within us, we are more successful in life. So I think this is the uniqueness, this is the uh, personality, uniqueness, and branding and packaging which attract others, which people appreciate, because of people appreciate us, and they like us, and to be with like us, to meet
Thank you.
with us.
Right. Thank you
Okay.
so much. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much for contributing to this. Dr. Sabina Evelyn, thank you so much. We've really learned a lot from this branding. I could have loved to start another section, but I want us to just hold on to that personal branding and come back again tomorrow to learn more on personal branding. So this will be the end of this section today, because if I say I want to start my section now, I won't finish until 1 o'clock, and I don't want to delay anyone. So I want to seize this opportunity to say thank you so much for joining us today, and we're looking forward for you to join us tomorrow. Thank you so much, Ambassador Afolabi Abalola, for joining us. Thank you, Oswell Ambassador Oluwatosin Mary. Thank you so much, Ambassador Rhoda. Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Subrata. Thank you so much. You see, your branding has really held me back. I really don't want to teach more because I've been excited about your teaching today. So that is why we need to wait till tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be able to teach tomorrow. But for now, branding is in my head. It's so exciting. I was so excited. I'm still excited to hear about it more and more tomorrow. So I want to release us today earlier so that we can come back tomorrow morning to learn more about this branding. So thank you so much, Dr. Samina, for contributing. Thank you so much, Sarah. Ambassador Afolabi, thank you so much for joining us today. Or do you have anything else to say before I end this program?
I'm just happy to be here. Thank you all for the opportunity. And
Okay, thank you.
also, I want to thank the guest speaker for giving us this powerful lecture today,
Yes.
especially on personal personal
Wow,
branding.
branding, yes. So you don't want
It
to
was
hear anything from me anymore. Let us just go home and think, reflect,
yeah.
and meditate on this personal branding. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Afolabi. Much appreciated. Thank you, Oluwatosin. Do you want to say anything? Ambassador Sarah, and Rhoda. Do you want to say anything before I end this program? I believe that we are all thinking the way I'm thinking. Personal branding, it's worth it that we talk about it. So Come tomorrow and join us as Professor Dr. Subrata teaches more on this branding. Thank you so much. Dr. Samina, thank you so much. So can I end this program now? Yes,
Yes,
good.
you can.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.